Hey there, you're listening to Movies Not Music, the bi-weekly Waves on the Shore series, in which I lead Evan through the world of the film industry. We're glad to have you here today, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the episode.
We're not biased, we just don't like bad music.
Jaron,
Yes?
I'm going to start the episode off without talking about the movie. I'm going to start it off with some show and tell. Okay. Now you know why I changed. Because I would have got up in my whole boxers. So, now we're in shorts. The people can see.
That's kind of funny.
I just want to show this off. I can't lie. Oh!
I'm kind of depressed that I didn't see Evan in boxers.
Is that a denim blue guitar? Oh, wow. Evan, did you spend way too much money? Oh, wow.
Denim blue? It looks kind of gray in the camera. For you listeners out here, Evan is show and telling an acoustic guitar that looks nice, but I can't... You said it looks denim blue?
It looks really gray on the camera.
It looks extremely gray. It looks
Extremely
cool.
Gray. It is denim
like it
blue.
looks good.
I had to get a guitar. So I was like, well, so I walked into the store, set on buying
You had to get a guitar?
Well, I don't think I can take my pastor's...
You had a guitar?
Yeah, but none of them can plug in. And I don't think I can take my pastor's guitar with me to college. He'd probably be like, hey, yo, I need that. So I was like, shit, I gotta get my own guitar. Yeah. And I was gonna get a black one. And then I walked in, I was like, wow, that's denim blue. I was like, wow, that's more money than
So you didn't choose the black one?
No.
Evan's a racist.
No, I'm just Smurf inclusive. I was like, that is more money than I want to spend, but you know what?
Evan has a Smurf fetish.
Yep. I'm like the opposite of Gargamel. Just all over those Smurfs. This is a very strange start to the podcast.
You know the names? That's actually impressive. I'm impressed.
Well, I know Gargamel. Do the Smurfs have names?
Like Papa Smurf? That's one. I can name one.
Fair enough. I just know Gargamel's the big bad guy. Doesn't he have a cat too, or am I tripping?
I think he does. I don't. Why do you remember that? I couldn't have told you.
How do you know? Those are your people, Jaron.
What is, bruh? I'm like
that
2 inches shorter. I'm like 2 inches shorter than you. Yes, I understood it was a height joke.
Like, for those of you who have never seen me and Jaron together in person, I am, like, if you took an average American ruler and added like 4 inches to that, that is the gap between Jaron and myself. He is just so far down there. He basically like stares into my belly button, which I always find kind of weird, but you know what?
Hot?
That's how it is.
Hot? Big if true, but it's not true. So here we are. Welcome to Movies Not Music, episode 20.
Is it really? Are we in the 20s for Movies Not Music?
It's 20 something, man.
Dang.
It could be 24. It's currently 9:11 a.m.
Good timing, Jaron.
I just woke up about 25 minutes ago. Evan
has his life together and was up much earlier.
Evans Wayman likes girls, so imagine that.
You're really struggling to intro this, eh?
I'm tired. I'm not struggling. I'm just floating.
It is episode 23, by the way.
It is 23. Look at that. Shot in the dark. We're covering Rocky 2. We're continuing the Rocky series and we'll probably do Rocky 3 and then do something else and then go back, do the next 3 and then do something else.
Quick
and
question.
Then go back and then do the next 3. What?
So, should this episode ever be uploaded? Should another episode ever be uploaded? Because we have 69 total episodes. Do we call it
across Movies Not Music and
normal?
The normal pod?
Do we just...
That's
viewers, let us decide. Even though this will be 70th, so we'll take. If you guys agree, we'll take.
Oh, we already have 69.
Yeah, we're at 69. So
this could be the epilogue.
Yeah.
69.5.
We should go 69.1. 69. Oh no, but it'll. You can't do that. Anywho, yeah. We watched Rocky 2. And
Why can't we do that? No, I don't want to move on. Why can't we do that? Why can't I put 69.1
well,
in the
because
title?
on the like streaming platform, it's going to say like
Oh, who
we're
cares?
we're not at episode 69 in either series.
We can just change the title and confuse people.
They're gonna be like,
We could do a soft reboot and just start and just like randomly at some point just decide that one of the episodes is just episode 1. And it just starts over again, and people are just gonna be like, "What is happening?"
that'd be kind of fun.
And we won't acknowledge it.
Yeah, it just is.
But yeah, we're on Rocky 2. This is, it's from my understanding, people generally maybe like this one a little bit more than the original. Actually, sometimes I think it depends on who you ask, but it's a little, I don't know. It's definitely different, but it's also the same. More of what we know, but some new things.
Do you
So,
have
Evan, what are your thoughts?
or should we go over the plot quickly
I mean, sure, I can just tell.
to refresh some viewers' memories? We're gonna speed through this.
The movie starts with the end of the first movie. It's refreshing you. It's reminding you, because in real life, it's been 3 years since the first movie. So it's like, this is what happened. Rocky loses that fight by split decision, I believe, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
And essentially, we find Rocky at a point in his life where he's like, doctors tell him his eye's no good. He probably shouldn't fight again. His right eye, I believe. And him and Adrian get married. They settle down. She gets preggo. And Rocky's struggling to find... He wants to find like a good, solid office job where he can support his family.
Because he kind of spent all his money from the fight.
Yeah, and he does... Yeah.
They got a nice car. They got a nice house. They got nice clothes, watches for everyone around him.
That's true.
He's
I
like,
forget
wait,
what
I
Rocky
need a
says.
job.
He's like, you gotta have a watch, or he's like, you gotta have a nice watch. You're nothing without a nice watch. And I was like, Rocky, what do you? What? Rocky, I love you, but what do you? What is? Where did you learn that? Like, why? I don't have a watch.
My favorite thing about when they're buying all the new stuff is when they're looking at the house, and he's like, oh yeah, like the address is 2313, and he's like, these numbers almost add up to 9. That's got to be a good omen.
They almost add up to 9.
But they do. He's not the brightest bulb. He's not the snappiest crackle.
No, I love it when he says just things like that, like just things that mean nothing.
Yeah,
These
yeah,
numbers,
yeah.
Like he sees something, he's just like coming up with things to say.
Exactly.
Like,
He doesn't actually know. He's just like...
It's just a Rocky thing.
He's
you
winging
know.
it.
He says stuff, and I like that about him. And I also, this would drive me insane, but like they go to the first house that they go to. Rocky's like, we'll take it. We're buying this house, and Adrian's like speaking like
civilly,
like she has sense. Yeah, and she's like, this is like the APR rate on this and on the mortgage, and like this is what the bank said. And Rocky's like, I don't care. This is the house. We're gonna love it. It's gonna be awesome. Which I appreciate that energy, but Rocky, that's probably not the mindset.
No.
Yeah.
Not when you're buying
Yeah,
it.
probably not how you should go about purchasing a house. But I love him. I do love Rocky. But yeah, so they're doing all that stuff. Rocky's kind of actually going through almost like a midlife crisis a little
Kind of.
because he's like, it's like a crisis of what can I do, and also at the same time Apollo on his end, we get a little bit more characterization of Apollo,
Which
in
I
this
like.
movie.
I appreciate.
Yes, I like too. You see how insecure he is. He's dealing with the fact that while he won that fight, did he win the fight? You know?
It was not decisive enough.
Yeah. People are like sending him death threats and messages like the fight was rigged. You're a fraud. I'm gonna kill you. Like that kind of stuff. Whack
You
stuff.
trash, bro. I could beat you.
Yeah. But I just gotta state for the record, Apollo's cute.
He's
You know,
a good
cute
looking
man.
man.
Yeah. He's a big guy.
You know who he looks like?
Who does he look like? Enlighten me.
Tony Evans.
Who is that? Is that a real fighter?
No, he is Anthony Tyrone, nicknamed Tony Evans, is an American pastor, speaker, author, and widely syndicated radio and television broadcaster. I only know because my buddy was like, yo, I got this sick new turquoise Tony Evans study Bible. I was like, that's cool. And I looked up Tony Evans. I was like, my gosh, has he fought Rocky before? Like, if you look up...
Is he jacked?
I don't know. He's always wearing a suit. But, like...
I'll look him up
If you look up Tony Evans, he really looks like just an older version of Apollo Creed.
Tony Evans. It's the mustache, I think. The mustache
And the haircut, man.
They look pretty similar.
I'm
not gonna disagree. There's definitely some similarities going on here. But Tony Evans also kind of looks like a pastor. Like he just looks like a pastor. I'm gonna see if I can find a decent picture and show the viewers if they're watching. What's a good? This is probably a good one. Will it focus?
He's got that. It's
not focusing.
That Apollo Creed in him. It's all right. Yeah, I was thinking that. So, anyways, basically what happens is Apollo.
But Apollo wants a rematch.
He just gaslights him into it. He's like, the rematch is happening. It's happening. He's a coward. He's running. And so then they finally convince Rocky, and there's a press conference and this big lead up to the fight. However, because Rocky has... I thought this was a cool little twist. Rocky hasn't really been able to find any steady work, so Adrian has been working despite being pregnant. And then she falls sick or something happens, and she's in the hospital, gives birth.
I think what happens was she was overexerting herself.
Well, yeah, that's what the doctors say. So she went into...
Yeah.
She gave birth, it was like a month early or something, and she went into a coma because her body was so stressed from, like, work and carrying a baby. So Rocky feels really bad, and then... So instead of training, he's literally just sitting by her bedside the entire time. And then she wakes up, and she's like... She never wanted Rocky to fight, but when she wakes up, she's like, go win the fight. And then we get the training montage with the Rocky music.
Well,
and he's running around the city, and the people are running behind him.
Yes. It is very, like, that's a very iconic Rocky moment, actually. But my favorite thing about what goes on there with Adrian and Rocky is she worries about him. She doesn't want him to, like, because there's, like, the doctors told him that after that first fight with Apollo, he could go blind if he fights again, if he gets hit in the right way, gets hit too hard, yada yada yada. And she's worried about him, so she's like, please don't fight. And he's like, that's why he's trying to get an office job, or something that doesn't require him to rough people up. And she's doing it to protect him, but I also thought it was interesting that when he actually starts training, and she doesn't like it, she doesn't like what's going on, and this is before the coma. He goes into the coma. She goes into the coma. It's having an effect on Rocky because he feels guilty.
So he's not training very good.
And if he were to go into the fight like that, he would get clapped because, like, and so, like, in a way, she's worried about him getting hurt, but she is the reason that he would get hurt if she doesn't, like, because he doesn't have her support.
Yeah, that's a good point. But when she starts rooting for him, he goes crazy with the training. He catches the chicken. Yeah. And, that's right. Yeah, so.
I think we're going to see more chicken catching potentially later in the Creed movie. The first Creed movie, I believe, has some chicken catching. Do you know anything about those Creed movies at all?
Nope. I know Michael Johnson's in them.
Michael B. Jordan?
Jordan.
Hey, you tried, and that's what matters.
Michael Johnson's
that's
who also, by the way, has that mustache and haircut and is a fighter. So I think I have some valid excuses for mixing this up. Where's a picture of Michael Johnson? Anywho.
Yeah, so after all that goes down, we're basically onto the fight. Once Rocky is inspired and he's actually he's on it. He's on top of the training. And he's doing the things and he's running down the street with all the kids. And it's a cool moment, but it's also like, where did all these kids come from? What?
And why are they
Now,
all
I
able
do
to
think-
match Rocky's pace? Why can they match a world boxing champion running multiple miles through the city?
I do think that in real life, there is the potential that some kids would like follow him. Like, cause it's like cool. Like,
But they fall off
like-
so easy.
they would eventually probably like fall off and like, but like these kids follow him for a while. And it's like, it turns into a massive crowd.
At the same time, though, I was
but I-
thinking, like, if you had, like, a prime Conor McGregor just running through a street in Ireland, there'd be people running behind him.
Yeah, but that's I also think that it's not like it feels unrealistic. But when I think about it, I feel like something like that would maybe happen if like he just lives in Philadelphia. People know him, and Philadelphia is an interesting place to live. And I feel like you would get stuff like that. Like Rocky's just running down the street. People are gonna recognize him, and people are gonna go like, "Yeah, Rocky, yeah,
That's our guy."
But I mean, do you even like in real life? Rocky is like a big deal in Philadelphia, like for real. Like the Rocky statue. Like, do you know about that? There's like so where Rocky runs up those steps. In the movie, it's not there yet, but like there is a legitimate Rocky statue of him holding up both his boxing gloves. Like he's
I've never seen a city proud of
this
a fictional character.
Well, it's the Rocky in a lot of ways, like in real life. Like these movies were like a big deal. And so it is interesting that they latched onto this fictional. It's more of like a statement about like the heart of Philadelphia.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think, and like they take a lot of pride in their sports, and Rocky is I think a metaphor for that. It's the process. It's the grind. It's the Philadelphia way.
That's how they do it down there in Philly.
Yeah. You know, when you win those sporting events, you gotta start destroying the city. You gotta flip over the cars. You gotta break into buildings.
Vancouver.
You gotta set things on fire. I mean, are you familiar when Philadelphia, the Eagles won the Super Bowl a few years back?
I am not.
Well, maybe you should look up. You should do yourself a favor and look up some videos because people were straight up. It was like an ocean of people just like flipping over other people's cars. This is when they won the Super Bowl, maybe like 3 or 4 years ago now.
Oh, recent.
I'm not like I'm an NBA guy, so like I don't always remember the years of the Super Bowl winners, but it was recent, and it was within the past 5 years, I'm pretty sure. And they were just like flipping over cars, and like they were just like the city was on fire, but not because of like a terrorist attack or like a war or like a riot.
No,
it was because they won the Super Bowl, and like.
But it's crazy because you guys won, right? So like Vancouver in 2011, they were in the Stanley Cup final for the first time in the team's history, and they lost to Boston. So as a result, the Vancouver people decided, well, we're just gonna burn the whole city down, right? And they actually, you know what? They were
the only reasonable thing to do.
They were pretty successful. Like they did some damage to Vancouver, but y'all won in Philadelphia. So like,
it was in celebration, yeah. Yeah, that's the best part is that they literally set the city on fire and they won the Super Bowl.
see,
it wasn't in frustration. It was like, yeah, and like people just like drunk. There's like 8 drunk dudes like flipping cars and like.
See,
like,
and Vancouver
like,
was actually
destroying
bad because they like lost, so they were legitimately like they were setting fire to buildings. They were like flipping cars and like exploding them and stuff. It's like, whoa, this looks like a
Philadelphia
war field.
It's interesting to me how different city, like how much cities can have an identity, like as like a like the different mob mentalities that cities have.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like in New York, you could never organize the entire city of New York to agree to one thing. Everybody's gonna be like, "Hey, yeah," do like they're like New York yelling, "Oh yeah, I'm walking here," like do the I'm walking here, like you know that thing. Oh, what the like just like New Yorker sounds, like just sounds, and then Chicago people in Chicago are just like, it's like not as straightforwardly violent as Philadelphia, but it's like
there.
more dangerous. It's more dangerous. You know what I'm saying?
Just get shot.
And then there's Detroit. Don't even talk about Detroit. Philadelphia, like you would think that you're in danger, but you're probably not always as much as you would be in like Chicago or New York. Like, but like it's because or Detroit, yes. I don't even know LA, man. I've been to LA. That place is I don't even know if it's real sometimes.
I haven't heard many good things about LA.
I mean, I wouldn't live there. I don't want to go there. Everything outside of the city, everything is just dead. It's desert. It's just nothing. And I don't want to be there. I've never wanted to be there.
Fair enough. So,
back onto Rocky. The point I was making is that with that whole like parade, not parade. I guess it's kind of a parade. When all the children and the young people are following Rocky, and it's that cool inspirational scene. I think it's a bit exaggerated, but I think in a situation like that, you would have a crowd.
Yeah, 100%.
In that city. So in that kind of sense, it's cool. And then we kind of come to the fight. What are your thoughts? I'm gonna let you take this because you're the fight boy. You're the fighting boy. The cute little fighting boy.
Like,
How does it compare to the first one? Let's just start with that. Like, what do you think? Because I guess, well, like my opinion on this fight, coming from a person who doesn't like watch fighting sports, is that this one was just more brutal.
yeah,
Like this one had there's a lot more stake in the game. I thought they did a good job of like Apollo, like in the first one, Apollo was kind of like a little lax because he wasn't expecting much. But in this one, Apollo's like, I'm gonna beat the crap out of you. And Rocky gets punched in the face a lot in the first movie, but in this movie, Rocky's just taking jabs all the time.
That's my problem. Like, when I'm sitting there watching, like, 27 punch combos get thrown about, and I'm kind of just like, I know I don't need it real. Like, I know it's exaggerated, right? I know it's a movie.
Right.
I don't want it to just be like, because if it was a realistic boxing fight, it'd be pretty slow. However,
Sure.
there are some times where I'm just like, you would think on the 19th jab in a row, he would think maybe I should either block it or move my head. And I'm kind of just there like, and there's no like, I get it because it's choreographed and it's tough, but there's no exchange. It's just, I'm going to punch you 30 times. You're going to punch me 30 times. I'm going to punch you. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. But,
Sure.
Oh well. I think I like the first fight better. I like the rib shot. I think that's a cool element. And it's actually realistic.
Yeah. I think I would agree for the most part. I think what they're trying to do here, or at least part of it is, I think Rocky over these movies kind of builds up a reputation for, he takes a lot of hits, like he can take a lot, he tires out his opponent, and then he takes him down. It's kind of like the idea.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong, but that's just kind of how I see it. I'm not saying that it's always done necessarily super well. Like, yeah, realistically, like, let's see him block. Like, let's see him just like dodge a punch. But Rocky's just like, he's just like, just taking jabs over and over and over again, and it gets a little frustrated for me because I'm just like,
I could be doing better, brother.
No, well, maybe not actually.
I'm like 150 pounds, and I could do better. Cause hear me out, right? I wouldn't get by the 19th jab in a row. I would probably think to change something.
Yeah. Okay. So how the fight ends though? The ending of this fight. Okay. So what do you think? Expunge.
I think it's kind of cool. I forget though. Like, how did Rocky get knocked down?
Okay, so Rocky's just super heckin' tired. He got
Is that
knocked
it?
down. So what
'Cause
happens
I was like, I know.
Rocky's taking a bunch of hits, but he gets a really good hit on Apollo, and he hits him a couple times, and then he goes boom in the face, and the momentum of that punch, he just goes with, like, he just like
Okay,
goes with
because
the follow through.
Rocky, that makes sense now. And then the exhaustion to get up, and it's a cool ending. How like Apollo doesn't get up, Rocky gets up. Rocky's the champion. Blah 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 blah.
Yep.
That was cool.
Adrian, he does the Adrian. I will say this. I finished watching this yesterday morning. Joe's at my house. We're eating breakfast, and watching the end of this movie, I teared up a little bit. I thought this one, like, I wasn't like crying, but like I felt something. I think that the end of this movie
Is much better
it's
than
it's when it's the little speech he gives where he's like I love that he does the thank you to Apollo, like he does the respectful thing, he mentions Apollo, he says thank you to Mick, but the thing that he says about he says this is the best thing outside of my baby boy being born
yeah.
is winning this fight, and then he's like that he does that thing with like Adrian, and that kind of hit me. I was like, the thing I love about Rocky's character so much is how simple he is. And sometimes that can be annoying, but also I think that's realistic. Like, there's people in real life that I've met that they're simple in their ways. They're stubborn, and that can be frustrating. And to me, Rocky could be a real person, like in the way that like he is, not necessarily just becoming a normal guy becoming a world champion boxer, but in the sense that like he's just a very normal, unassuming person.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why I personally like his character so much. He's not like at those press conferences that we see in this movie with Apollo Creed. He's just like hanging out. He's just like
I love.
And Apollo's like, I'm gonna end you. Like your face is gonna be on the floor of that mat. And Rocky's like, okay.
I don't know if this is like intentional. I don't know if they've ever pointed this out, but I'd be very confident in saying that Apollo Creed is based on Muhammad Ali. With that,
he is actually, I believe. Okay. I think you're correct, actually.
Because I mean, not only the fact that he's the heavyweight champ, the style and everything, but like the way he talks in the interviews, I was like, they've taken this from Ali.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I'm gonna put his head on the canvas. It'll be bouncing around like a bouncy. Just the way he was talking, just getting the crowd all riled up. Like, that's so Ali.
It is. I'm actually. I think you'll be interested to see. Okay, so actually, let's do this. What do you have a prediction for the third Rocky film? Like, where do we go from here? What is the next evolution? Rocky's the heavyweight champion. He just beat Apollo. He has a baby. He's got a baby. Him and Adrian are in a good spot.
What's the baby's name Rocky. Again? Did they go with Rocky Jr.?
Oh shoot.
I think they did.
I think they did, but I think he goes by his middle name, like when he gets older. Because spoiler alert, in a later film, we see Rocky's son when he is like in his 30s, in a later film. And that means we see Rocky when he is
I think third movie, Rocky
what do you think?
Versus Rocky Jr. The lineage showdown.
That's a big time jump. It's like
a 2-year-old getting in there. His dad's just wailing on him.
Jeez. Oh gosh.
I don't know. Maybe like the Scandinavian scoundrel just shows up. Some Viking dude with boxing gloves and.
Okay.
I'm gonna challenge Rocky.
So I will say that Rocky does face a new opponent, but Apollo is in the third movie. He's
tag team.
I don't know. You'll have to see. It'll be interesting.
I am intrigued to see what goes.
I don't really want to talk too much about it because I think there's some cool character things that happen. Maybe some unexpected character growth that also kind of makes sense. It's cool. Okay. It's natural.
Okay.
But yeah, that being said, how does this one compare to the first one?
I think it's better.
You do,
Yeah, I like
even
this
though
one
the
a
fight
lot.
is maybe worse. Even though the fight is maybe worse.
I like this movie a lot better. I just found it like I found the plot was like there was more plot to follow.
There's a lot more. I think there's
And
a lot more to chew on with this movie.
yeah,
And
yeah.
and the
Whereas the
movie,
other
it's just
movie,
Rocky. It's just Rocky and Adrian, and then he's fighting.
yeah.
You know?
Whereas this is kind of like
It's
everything
like,
kind of
okay,
plays off each
Rocky
other.
and the baby. Rocky needs a job. Then there's Apollo. Like there's
Everything
there's
overlaps
things.
really well.
Yeah, and it all makes sense. None of it's like why is
Yeah.
this weird? Why is this subplot here? We don't need this.
So
No,
I
like
liked it better. I liked Rocky's character in the movie, which obviously didn't change too much from the first movie, but just still like the bouncy ball, the hey, these numbers almost add up to 9.
Yes.
Yes, of course, Adrian, I can drive this car. Hits
And
every
then he
curb and
can't.
trash can.
Yes.
Sells
Um,
the car. I
What do you I don't think I asked you about this last episode, but like we have watched a couple of sports movies, but specifically we watched Warrior a while ago. Now that's an MMA movie, but how does this compare to Warrior? Like in the sense that like, how do you, in terms of a movie that you liked, is Warrior better? Is Rocky 2 better?
what did I rate Warrior on Letterboxd? No, because that was way back.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Because I can't remember what I gave, but I feel like the Rocky.
I feel like you liked Warrior.
I did like Warrior, but I feel like the Rocky movies
shoot.
are just so
forgot
iconic.
to
Like there's
review Rocky
almost
2.
like this little aura around it. Like I'm watching a Rocky movie right now, and like
Right.
I almost just think that it's so iconic. It's hard to like. I don't know. I think I liked the Warrior movie because I was able to point out so many Easter eggs. I think that's what I had fun with.
I personally enjoyed the Warrior fight between the two brothers
Much
lot.
more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the fighting in that movie's better.
And that's coming from a person that doesn't like watch fighting sports.
The fighting in that movie is definitely better, even though I remember having problems with it. And then I liked pointing out the Easter eggs, but as for, and it is
Kamaru
a cool,
Usman. Sorry.
it is a cool like plot on how these two separated brothers come back to fight each other for like a championship in a tournament. But the Rocky movies are pretty dope. Like.
Yeah. I'm glad you enjoy them.
So
I'm honestly a bit I wasn't sure. I shouldn't say surprised, but I wasn't sure how you would.
I think I maybe have more fun with Warrior, just like I said, because it's like, hey, there's John Anik, or hey, there's so and so, or hey, they're throwing a bone to this. But as a movie, I think maybe the Rocky movies are just more like movie.
movie. Yeah, you could sit down and get some popcorn with the fam and watch Rocky. I think Rocky 3 is gonna be an interesting time.
Okay.
Because it's definitely movie. Like it's movie.
Rocky
you know?
versus Adrian.
He's just rocking Adrian's. Just.
Adrian comes back with big overhand right.
Movie starts with Adrian walking in with divorce papers. Rocky just starts. These numbers don't add up to 9. I gave Rocky 2 a 4.5 on Letterboxd. I don't know. I gotta come up with something quippy to say. I don't know what I.
My review, 4 stars, and I said,
Yeah, I read yours.
these numbers, spelt like these numbers, almost add up to 9. It's my favorite line in that movie.
It's honestly probably my favorite line.
So you're
I think
just
it's really
copying
funny.
me? Okay, that's fine.
I'm not putting that as my review. Jeez.
That'd be so lame of you, Jaron.
Yeah. All right. Well, no, we like this movie. If you guys haven't seen any of the Rocky movies, you should watch them.
Watch Rocky 1. Watch Rocky 2.
Let us know what you guys think of them. If you have movie suggestions, don't be afraid to DM me. Subscribe to whatever. review on whatever platform you're on.
Do the things.
If it's not Spotify, you probably live in poverty. And we'll see you later. Bye.
Apple Music. No. You're gonna end it there anyway.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Movies Not Music. If you feel inclined, leave a comment and a review. And if you'd like to connect with us, you can find us both on Instagram, @TheWavesOnTheShore, and at our personal accounts, @TheOvershore and @JepWatts.